I think the opportunity that creates, though, is still a lot of that work, and you can identify this. A lot of that work is being done in silos.
Yes.
You've got your lending, and they have their own digital initiative of how to, with the online loan applications and the mortgage applications, the online collection services and so forth. So they got their own little effort going on here. You got branches doing their own thing. You got IT doing their own thing. You got marketing doing their own thing. And so all these silos are kind of working in conflict with each other. And so the opportunity now is to kind of look at digital strategy as an organizational initiative and not a departmental initiative. An initiative that is driven by a single leader. Our org charts need to kind of be reinvented. Org charts should follow strategy. Strategy should not follow org charts. So if a strategic initiative is to become more digitally friendly, whether you call it mobile first or digital first, I don't care. But if that is the initiative, then there needs to be an executive that bands over all the silos that's driving that initiative forward and has a project business plan to actually make it happen in the foreseeable future.
Yeah, you just recently wrote an article about that because you noted that leadership must be redefined because leadership is seen as the job of the chosen few, dictated by that org chart. Yeah. But you continue writing that leadership isn't for the few, leadership is for the masses. And then you continue to share 5 reasons or 5 ways to redefine leadership. Let's talk about that because leadership post-COVID in a digital-first world is vastly different than what leadership was pre-COVID in the legacy model.
Right. Yeah, it used to be leadership was all about position and title. So you got to a point, and I'm a manager, so now I'm leading a team of people. But that whole concept is kind of dated today. Because every one of the jobs within a credit union, I don't care if you're a teller, I don't care if you're a member service person, I don't care if you're processing loan applications, I don't care if you're an underwriter, it doesn't matter what your role is. You are an expert in that job, and you probably know more in a lot of cases than the SVP overseeing your role, because if they did it in time in the past. So having that kind of what I call that distributed leadership model where because you're an expert, you have to have voice in anything that impacts your ability to do this job well and to serve your members, whoever that is, internal or external, better. You have to have voice, and that voice has to have meaning and has to be heard and has to be, more importantly, believed. And I think that's kind of missing right now in leadership development across credit unions. It's still kind of this top down. You and I talked about this earlier, and I know you're a proponent of this. We got to turn the pyramid upside down.
Yeah, the org chart.
Bill Sterner told me, he was a CEO first CEO I worked for. He said, the higher you get in the organization, the less you know what's going on the front line. And so we need to let the front line drive what is important to what their engagements tell them is important. And that engagement, more often than not, is the customer or the member.
Yes.
It's not what the board says. It's not what the SVP says. It's what they're hearing every day when they're engaging our customer.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about flipping the org chart, because that is something that we've done multiple times as recommendations for financial brands when it comes to their digital growth blueprint. At the top, we put the community, because that is ultimately who we're helping as a community financial institution. I don't care if you're a credit union. I don't care if you're a community bank. Right. Your end goal is to elevate and level up the community, empower the community. After that, you have your account holders, but then you have your front line. Those are the people, like you said, on the day-to-day that know the ins and the outs. But as you're talking through this, I was thinking about frontline is leadership to the people that they're helping, to the people that they're guiding. So leadership training all the way down to the front line, maybe it's not quote unquote sales training, maybe it is leadership training, because to me, leadership is about transformation, helping someone achieve their full potential that they might not even know that they have the ability to tap into that potential in the first place. So just like leadership, like you said, is normally for the chosen few, if we bring that conversation throughout the organization, top to bottom, bottom to top, that is a transformative exercise. Yes?
Yeah, just think about that a minute. We look at, okay, I'm in a credit union, let's say, and I'm looking at my staff chart, my org chart, and I'm looking at that whole row of people that are called tellers. And this is generally referred to as an entry-level position. Now, just think about that a moment. Here it is, the face of the credit union. That person that your customer, your member engages every single time, that has conversation with, that understands and knows them, that hears what they're saying and what problems they're having, they're considered entry. We diminish them right from the get-go, right from the very beginning. One thing that COVID has done, though, I think that is a real plus for the whole industry, and that is we have established a new appreciation for what we consider to be essential employees. And that is that person that is breathing in the virus in their job every day. That is the person that's having that conversation through now a slice of plexiglass, but engaging people on a human level. The face of the credit union should never be diminished as an entry-level job. It should be considered a professional job that is giving real guidance and assistance to people at the point of contact. What better role is there?
Well, it's interesting because, like you said, you talk about the teller, that entry-level role. That is, we call them the front line. They are on the front line of this financial health crisis. And even just the transformation of the way that we think about them and the way they think about themselves, I think could be a very empowering idea. So you're not just a teller, and I wrote some ideas down, you're a financial coach. Because I'm a big proponent in coaching as almost a transformative activity for a financial brand. You're a financial advisor. You're a financial guide or a financial physician, just something that innately it says, you know what, I do more than just transact with someone. I transform someone's life, and the way I do this is financially. I love this thinking.
A lot of credit unions have somewhere in their mission statement, we want to help our members achieve financial success. There's some kind of verbiage around that, and almost every one of them. And just think about that. When I was at Elements Financial, Federal Credit Union in Indianapolis, we started a new brand initiative, and that brand was, we want to be financial wellness providers. That was our purpose in life. But what we realized, that person on the front line diminished themselves, their value. And we were saying, when somebody comes in and asks, to start a savings account, ask them this question. Ask them, what are you saving for? Because until you know that, you really don't know what kind of account to open for, right? And so they said, well, I'm not comfortable. This is what that frontline teller would say. I'm not comfortable in giving these people that have $100,000, $50,000, $200,000 on deposit, giving them financial advice. And I said, oh, time out. Think about this a minute. You know more about what products and services you have available to them than they know. You are the expert here. You may not have the same balance sheet, but you have more knowledge than they have about what you can do for them. Once they got that paradigm shift, then those conversations about what do you need to borrow the money for? What are you saving for became much more readily available in their thought process, because they saw themselves now as experts.